Hey there, it's the Machine of Nonsense, episode 38, and we are doing the Loki Season 1 Spoilercast. We're recording this on Saturday the 17th, so Loki's final episode hit on Wednesday the 14th, I believe it was. So you guys have had plenty of time at this point to check it out. If you haven't, do it, and then listen to us. I'm your host, Eric. Joined as always by Kayla.
Hello.
And Carcast Mike.
Hey.
And Tomas.
Hey, how's it going?
And we're here talking Loki at ya. Loki Season 1 was quite the ride, guys. I don't know what to say. I was thoroughly confused for probably the first 5 episodes of
Really?
this series. Yeah, I really
Oh, wow.
was. I did not really know. I was confused in a good way, though. I think like it kept me wanting more every time. But I was just like, man, I don't know how this is gonna wrap up. I don't really know if I understand what is going on in this world. Way more so than like previous Falcon and the Winter Soldier or WandaVision. As twisty and turny as WandaVision got, I always felt like, I kind of get it. I kind of get what's going on. Yeah, maybe there's some mystery. Who's at fault here or whatever else. But man, Loki.
It was Agatha.
It was Agatha.
Always
all
Agatha.
along.
Yeah. No, we're
but-
talking about Loki also. Loki is just Agatha. So
Loki is Agatha. Yeah.
Wrap
Sorry,
up-
spoilers for
wrap up the
Loki.
cast. We're
Yeah,
done.
Loki was Agatha. That's it. That's all we got. Kayla, it started off. What did you think just overall of Loki?
Visually it's very, very pretty. I really enjoyed looking at it. I loved all the colors. I loved the TVA and it's like retro kind of technology and stuff that they used. I did thoroughly enjoy it. It's probably not my favorite out of the TV series that has come out yet, but it's pretty good. I enjoyed it.
Tomas, what'd you think?
Well, I literally just watched let's see, 5 out of the 6 episodes last night. So,
Nice.
Bravo.
I
That's a
plowed
good
through this
that's a
bad
good
boy.
run.
We watched the first one, and then we, started watching Game of Thrones with my girlfriend, and
Holy smokes.
I was like, oh shit, I gotta wrap this up podcast. But
You got to learn about Tyrion and Arya, I guess, you know?
but no, I enjoyed it. Kind of like with Kayla, I wouldn't like. I don't like. I don't know. It was like I don't know. I was a big fan of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. WandaVision don't feel like it really stuck the landing that great. Thing that this show's got going for it though is it's only season 1. It's going to continue.
Mhm.
So I'm curious as to how they continue. I like the fact that it's like this was the catalyst for the whole multiverse thing going on, and
Yeah.
I think
Yeah, a
everybody
lot's
kinda-
going to stem from it.
yeah, and it's like okay, cool. They cracked open that can of worms. It'll be interesting to see how they go forward from that, and that's what I'm most excited about.
Yeah, I like that thought.
Also, alligator Loki.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Mike, your car is just filled with Loki variants right now. For
Yes.
people not watching the video,
As many as I could fit. Yeah, as many
yeah.
alligators as I could get in here.
Just got a bunch of alligators.
Yeah, classic Loki was kind enough to take the trunk.
Ah.
He was fine with it. So
He's smarter.
yeah, we're good. But man, I loved Loki. I
Nice.
like Kayla said, like every episode was like just something new and different. Like the first episode does all the world building. Then you get like a cool buddy cop episode. You get like a rom-com
Mhm.
action episode. Then you get this huge MCU like altering like thing towards the end. This is what I want from the TV series. Like
Nice.
Absolutely.
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
glad you're happy, Mike.
Thank you. Thank you. Finally. Took 32 years, but
Tomas mentioned sticking the landing, that WandaVision maybe didn't stick the landing. I think we kind of all agreed on that one when we did the spoiler cast of WandaVision. I would say Loki. We'll get to the ending and everything else and all the after credits stuff, but yeah, I think sticking the landing, Loki stuck the landing. I practically every episode had probably, for me, in Loki, every episode ended on a note where, like I said, I was real confused. I did not really get the stakes, what the TVA was all about until the very end, really. But every episode kind of ended at a point where I was like, well, I have to
keep
see where
watching.
this is going. Yeah, and then
Get
every
real
episode
on that, mate.
started. Yeah, definitely. And then every episode kind of started where it's like, yep, this is why I'm watching. This is they're paying it off. They're paying off what they did.
yeah.
Yeah. So we get at the beginning, episode 1. Mike mentioned it's the world building. So we see the events of New York, the events of Avengers, the first Avengers movie, where Loki's going into custody. Shield, I guess, is going to take him into custody after the Battle of New York. But he slips away with the Tesseract. What we've seen already at during the events of Endgame happening.
Yeah.
But we get to kind of see the resolution of that. Loki, where he goes, winds up in a random desert, right? Just winds up somewhere. And then right away we're introduced to the TVA, or agents of the TVA, coming in and just rocking his world, taking him into custody. I was a little throughout the show. This is part of my confusion. Loki's kind of a badass. He's got a lot of cool powers and stuff, but it seems like the TVA agents just handled our boy real quick.
Yeah.
I know what's gonna happen. They know everything.
They've dealt with Lokis in the past. I think that's the big
Yes.
sticking point there. It's
Right.
if they've had a whole
Countless.
countless Lokis. As we see later on, there's a whole fucking cascade of them at some point. But so I think they just got the number.
I'm gonna ask a question regarding that. Do they, and this might be not answerable, do they just kind of instantly go grab Loki's out of nowhere? We still don't know what Sylvie's event was. Other than our Loki and Tom Hiddleston Loki, it just seems like they were like, okay, let's just grab them because they're ridiculous.
Yeah, so there's the way things are going on, it's or the the timekeepers at that time, I guess. The whole idea behind the TVA is to keep one solid, steady timeline. So I guess there's only one version of everybody that is the right version. I guess that was the one that got the Loki that got its neck snapped by Thanos in the Endgame movies was the right Loki. The one that escaped in the second part of Endgame was the variant from our timeline. So what they do is they just snatch people that branch off from the main timeline because they're just trying to keep a steady stream.
I want to know what Sylvie's was.
It's still, I mean, she was just a little girl. They didn't really explain, but she's like, "Oh, hey, I'm playing," and then it was like, "Oh yeah, we're just bye."
Yeah.
Yeah, you had mentioned the visuals, Kayla.
It's so pretty.
Shortly thereafter, when Loki's taken into custody, we get to see the TVA for the first time. The agents take him in, and he goes through a very odd processing and everything else. Tomas, I don't know if you checked out Control. 2019, I think was probably my game of the year of 2019. Major Control vibes. This is Control, the TV show, basically.
Oh wow.
The retro tech, the office environment, the like bureaucracy of it all. Like I was just like, man, this is
Magic of it too, there's
everything.
weird stuff, everything.
Is that the
Yeah.
one with like the weird projector in the dumpster place with a little girl who ends up getting
Yeah.
powers or something? Okay.
Yep.
I know about it. I didn't play it, but
Ah.
I'm familiar.
It's really good. You should
with
check
it.
it out.
Yeah, highly recommend it. But
I've heard
like,
it's very good.
yeah, it's got the exact same visual kind of vibe of everything's old
Aesthetic.
school technology.
Yeah.
Yeah, the exact same aesthetic. Were you feeling that, Mike? Yeah.
I think Kevin Feige has played in platinum control.
Platinum.
Yeah, down just the whole vibe of the TVA is very what it was called the old house. Is that what
I think
building-
oldest. Yeah, oldest
the
house.
oldest
Yeah.
house? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the building you're in control, and I don't know if the TVA headquarters has as cool a name. I think it's just like the TVA basically. But yeah, I mean, just imagine a 40s or 50s stuffy office building with all the technology that comes with 1950, but also magic and fucking like wands that disintegrate.
70s
Yeah.
and 80s vibe. This reminded me of the interior of like my grandfather's house. A lot of browns and yellows and muted colors. It was very
Orange.
indicative of that era. Yeah, I don't know what they were smoking back then, but
It's really interesting because you bring up that, it's very kind of drab and orange and grays and browns. And then you go to the next episode and it's purples and grays and it's very like spiritually and mystically, and it's just wild. It's like two totally different situations, but I think they make it work. It could have been a little bit harder for me to take those roads. There were like whiplash, kind of how different they were.
I think a lot of the colors in the show are like just darker, a lot of shadow. Overall tonal.
I enjoyed it a lot though.
Yeah, it wasn't like, it was a few shades off of like Zack Snyder, like lack of contrast or brightness. So I could deal with it pretty well.
For a concept so grand as the TVA, they keep it really tight and like just don't they really just keep it into the TVA. You don't go out into too many crazy area, a few, but I like that. I like the consistency of it.
Yeah. We're introduced to Owen Wilson's
I was about
character,
to say, well, we gotta
Mobius.
talk about my boy.
Yeah,
Wow.
very very early on, and I think he was a standout. There were sections of the show overall where he just kind of disappeared for plot reasons. You know, he had to.
There was the
but
Loki
I
and
think
Sylvie episode where he's just, not there.
Right, yeah, but I think I think Mike said buddy cop episode. There's like a buddy cop episode.
Episode 2.
Yeah, and they definitely had that vibe of
Their
like,
dynamic was really fun.
oh, it was great.
I think so too.
Yeah.
He had a lot of energy. He brought a lot of like energy
brought his,
to
like-
each scene he was in.
He brought his A game. It was good to see my boy, like working again too. So
Yeah, I agree.
big Owen Wilson fan.
He's almost the exact opposite of Loki too. It's like that fire and ice. Like Loki is chaos and Mobius is bureaucracy and office guy, like boring office guy by the books, and it's just it's fun because Owen Wilson is kind of usually that guy in a lot of things. He's usually the chaotic, fun guy. But to see him in
Deep
that
down, he knows he just wants to let loose on a jet ski. He just knows it's in there.
He wants it. He needs it.
I think one of the coolest world building parts early on is Loki's trying to essentially escape. Like he gets a little run of the TVA a little bit and finds out that like there's just infinity stones. It's just in a cabinet or whatever, like a desk drawer. Yeah.
I guess powers are just muted in like whatever dimension they're in. So it's like his powers, Infinity Stones, everything is just like, nah, this don't work here.
Right. Yeah.
What was that
Interesting.
moment like for you guys where, like I mentioned early on, like right when the TVA agents like take down Loki, like it's no big deal. And then shortly thereafter he finds Infinity Stones in a desk drawer and stuff like that. And he's having like a crisis of like, holy shit, like
Yeah.
what's the deal here? How are these people so powerful? What did you guys think of that? Cuz like they're just people. It looks like these TVA agents and stuff. They're just like office people essentially, or like some of them have like riot gear. They look like SWAT people
Yeah.
or whatever. But like it's not Thanos, you know. It's not
Yeah.
it's not even Loki or Asgardians or something like that. It's just
They'd have
folks.
no power there, even if they did. We don't know. They
Yeah.
could be. They could have been.
Yeah. So, I mean, they're all variants. So
For me, it set the expectations to like, okay, we're done with the Infinity War. Like they put it in a fucking drawer. Like this is something new.
Yeah.
good analogy.
And
Yeah, it
Loki,
is.
this is the greatest power in all of the universe, Loki says, and it's not really power as far as Infinity Stones or superpowers. It's knowledge. It's knowing. The TVA knows everything that's going to happen at any point ever in the timeline, and it's
Yeah.
Until the end of time.
Yeah. And they
until
also
the end of time.
they also made the caveat because Loki like makes his plea. He was like, "Oh, the Avengers time traveled. It's like you should be taking them down." And it's like, "Oh,
Yeah.
they
It
were
wasn't
meant
me.
they were meant to do that." So
We're allowing
we
actually, like,
allowed
yeah.
them to do that because it's part of the proper time. So, but no, that was interesting. I think like his epiphany was that like you know, everything that he had believed to be power was like kind of just shoved to the wayside in an instant because, it just not how it works. He's like literally had his whole entire concept of like how things work, kind of shattered.
Yeah, the big jumping off point of that is him seeing his own death. Like you guys mentioned, they kind of have video of every event that is going to happen, and he gets to kind of like fast forward through the events of him and
Ragnarok.
Thor, Ragnarok, him and Thor like kind of becoming buddy, being okay with each other, and then eventually
Accidentally killing his mom.
right,
Yeah.
yeah. Like just imagine like seeing your entire future in 5 minutes
Yeah, that was
and your own death as well, like.
That scene is so great. The whole interrogation with Mobius, they're back and forth, and then him seeing this film. It's like on an old school projector, and you could see like he thinks like, okay, Thanos thinks he killed me. I'm gonna escape now somehow, and then he just no, okay, and then it's the end of the
And just
film, and
ends.
it's like that's his story is over.
like, see ya.
And great stuff by Hiddleston and all of that. He
Yeah,
he does a great job.
he was top notch, man.
Yeah, what did you guys think? We mentioned a little bit of Owen Wilson getting to play maybe a little bit different role than normal. Loki was kind of Loki, Tom Hiddleston was
Yeah.
kind of himself in this, but I feel like he shined. He got to really cook.
Oh yeah.
Oh, he's so good. This is a show about wanting to change but feeling like you can't change. It
Yeah.
doesn't allow, the TVA never allows any of these variants to become anything other than just a Loki.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, they
Yeah. To
drive
make
that
their own
nail in.
decisions.
They
yeah.
like continuously hammer that nail in. It's like when they throw him into that like dimension where he's constantly going through the loop with his sister in Asgard. It's like you're always gonna be alone. It's like
Right.
like they just continuous like hammer it in.
Yeah, I think the themes and everything were super effective for me in this show of just loneliness and trying to change and purpose and things like that. They really nailed all those things, I think,
Yeah.
throughout the show.
Yeah. Speaking of purpose, we get to kind of find out why Mobius takes a liking to this Loki. And I say this Loki because the major theme and kind of what pushes the plot forward is variance. There are infinite amounts of different timelines. There are different Lokis, and one of them we find out is very important. Mobius is on the trail of another Loki and feels like he needs our Loki, Tom Hiddleston, to help him track him down. So this is where it becomes like a buddy cop kind of situation. Loki and Mobius off going through time. They have little, time transporters. What are the little items called?
Tempad?
Tempad,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, so they're able to just create portals to different timelines in a whim, and go try to track down our Loki variant. And we're shortly thereafter introduced to Sylvie, a female variant of Loki, and kind of the for me a standout kind of star of the show overall. What did you guys think of the introduction of Sylvie in the grocery store, the introduction to her powers, and then just that?
I loved her. She's played by Sophia DiMartino, who she's done some stuff, but this is the first time I've seen her in anything. And the character's just super cool. She has a tempad of her own, and she hides in apocalypses throughout time. That's Loki. There's a scene where Loki and Mobius, they crack that, and they go and track her down at this in the future. There's this apocalypse that's happening, and there tons of people are just stuck in a giant mall type store or something like that. And then I thought it was super cool how her power is enchantment.
Yeah.
And she's just enchanting different people throughout this rundown mall, and Loki's talking to her through this possessed person. And I thought that was kind of a cool, creepy tone to it.
Yeah, it was creepy. And I didn't expect it to be a female. It was definitely a surprise for me. I did not see that coming.
Yeah. That's what made me excited, because I know there, throughout the comics there are multiple versions of Loki, and so I was like, oh, okay, so it's like I didn't know what they were gonna do later on with the whole cavalcade of Lokis, but I was really excited that they were exploring that concept of the different types of Lokis, and I've stayed pretty whenever one of these shows come on, I do a pretty good job at avoiding spoilers or anything. So I was still fairly excited by all these little reveals and stuff. And it was, I don't know, it was cool to see we're talking about the mall, and she has this grand scheme to and you don't quite know what's going on yet. It's you just see a timer, and it's oh, she's gonna blow up something, or she's gonna set off one of those time reset things, and she does do that, but she sends them all out into different eras of time and shit, and it's immediately wrecks shop. It's it was cool. It was and it's funny because she's a Loki, she spreads chaos, and it was just a good moment. It's and she says she's been planning it for years, and they don't quite reveal what exactly the extent of that is until a little bit later. Do you guys want to start talking about that now, or?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so yeah, she was a variant, and she got pretty much taken when she was a little girl, and during her process she took the tempad and she escaped. So this was a culmination of her whole entire lifetime, from a childhood to adulthood, of just trying to get back at the TVA and take them down from the inside, and fuck with whatever order they have, because they pretty much took her life from her. And it was pretty neato.
Yeah, she's been forced to live in apocalypses for 20 years probably. I mean, we don't know exactly when what age she was when she was taken, or what age she is now, but
that's debatable too, because like everything at the TVA and all that, like apparently like Mobius and whatnot has been around for like eons. So it's like,
Yeah, it doesn't seem like time really exists there.
Yeah, it's hard to say how long she's been doing it. Like,
also she's a demigod too, so could
right.
have been.
That's true. Yeah, I didn't even think of that. I'm just thinking like, oh yeah, she's just she's not a human. She could be thousands of years old. Like,
Right.
She is a
Right.
Loki, so
wow. Yeah, I
Right.
didn't even. This is new
Yeah,
information for me.
yeah.
Restart.
Let's go. Watch it again, Eric.
Yeah, it's like yeah, it's like 20 years. Like it seems like yeah, she's just
Yeah,
she's been doing
she's
it
an
for
adult.
20.
You know, hey,
It's not that bad to live in apocalypse for 20 years. Whatever.
20 years, 2,000 years, you know, potato,
Jeez.
potato.
I
Time's
think
relevant.
man, you mentioned not being spoiled on really anything. I think that was the case for me and Kayla as well. I had no idea we would get a female Loki or even just like that variants of Loki were going to be a thing in this. I watched all the trailers and everything else coming up, and I was super excited. But like, how about you, Mike? Did you know like the general like framing of all this?
No, I thought it was just going to be like a case of the week, Mobius and Loki just working together. And
I would have settled for that too.
the first two episodes, you're thinking, okay, yeah, this is cool. They're getting, they have such a good chemistry, and the show has such just a pace to it, and it's always just changing what you think the show is.
Mm.
And yeah, for all of this to happen in 6 episodes is
Yeah.
an accomplishment. I can't believe it all worked.
Yeah, and I think they got to a good like stopping point too for like the end of like a first season. Like, like I talked about WandaVision not sticking the landing. I think this show did an excellent job of like just wrapping up where it wanted to stop for the time. I'm excited because I know there's going to be more. Left me with enough so that like I want to come back, and I think it wrapped up enough ends to like keep me satisfied with how it, in 6 episodes. And like it's like around episode 4 or 5, like I'm just like with every other like one of these series, I'm like, all right, how are they gonna wrap this up? How are they gonna wrap this up? Is it even possible at this point? But I think they did a good job on this one. So
Yeah, I definitely felt that this series connected into everything really, really well. This was the first time that I felt like I was basically watching a movie in the MCU, like I have been this whole time.
Yeah.
It really felt like it connected and it was a part of the MCU versus like how kind of off the other ones felt.
yeah, definitely felt like it tied in with everything really well.
Yeah, and piggybacking on that,
Yeah.
I think like the length was just ideal. There were definitely points where like you said, Tomas, like I was like, man, I don't know that they're going to be able to wrap this all up in like basically after episode 5, I was like, man, there's one episode left. They're going to have to wrap this up in 40 minutes. And they for me they did. And
Yeah.
like more so than WandaVision or Falcon and Winter Soldier, I felt like on those I felt like you could maybe cut some fat. Oh, maybe you could have added some fat, something, depending on, which one you're talking about. I don't think so with this one. I think it was like the right amount, all the way around.
Hey, third time's a charm, right?
I guess, yeah. And what do you guys think of, so we've already kind of spoiled it or, mentioned it that like this is season 1 of at least 2 seasons. We're getting a season 2. Did you guys expect that?
I mean, like we mentioned in the WandaCast, that like it was series finale, like the last episode, and I think this and Winter Soldier said season 1. So I was like, oh, okay, so yeah, and it has to go on into something else with this one at least, because they end on such a, like, oh well, where are we going from here? But I don't know, but like this show makes me excited to want more.
Yeah,
I didn't get that with the other two.
right. Yeah, I thought it would be a one and done, similar to how I feel about the other two. But man, they set up such a cool world and cool characters that it would be foolish to not go
Yeah.
back to this. And clearly it's going to be a huge, you know, point for the MCU forward.
This show is
Yeah.
just fun, like overall, like Mike, I think you put it together so well. Like the episodes and the tropes, like they nailed so many different things. Like every episode was like different enough, but like still drove like the narrative in like a good way forward. And like I don't know, it's like hard to explain. Like I can just give a few examples too. Like it worked well as like kind of a standalone show too. Like it's like my girlfriend watched this with me, and like she was pretty much just all in because Owen Wilson was in it. She's a big Owen
Oh,
Wilson
cool.
fan. And jumping a little bit forward, I mean it's a spoiler cast. Owen Wilson gets later on, and I don't want to go too much into that. So we still have another episode we haven't talked about, but he gets fucking, what do they call it, pruned.
Pruned.
And
Yeah.
like my girlfriend was like, I'm out. It's like they took my boy away. We can't keep watching this. And I'm like, for real? But yeah, shit.
Pour
She
one out.
enjoyed it a lot. Like, and it wasn't like too confusing. And like my girlfriend is familiar enough with multiverse theory that like even when that shit was hitting, it's like a couple like side discussions, but nothing that like I was like, oh well, this is how it works in the MCU. She's like, oh yeah, I was like, I get it, multiple dimensions and shit like it, because that's like regular shit too,
Timeline craziness and multiverses and shit really confuse me. They
like
really,
Chrono
really
Cross.
do.
Oh man, we need to get to episodes 5 and 6 so that we can talk about Chrono Trigger. So I've been waiting 38 episodes for this, and Loki finally gave it to me.
Oh yeah, this is 100% the first time we've ever mentioned Chrono Trigger on this podcast.
They did a Chrono Trigger thing, dude. It's like,
I think we could definitely get into, episodes 5 and 6 and kind of where they leave us and everything else. We do
Lamentus.
Lamentus.
Oh,
we're
okay,
not gonna talk about Lamentus.
We should mention Lamentus.
Okay, can we talk about like what is it considered when you make out with a variant of yourself, or like you want to like bone yourself?
I was a little concerned. I was a little concerned. Yes. What do you think of
is it
making out
incest?
with yourself?
Is it masturbation? Is it?
I think it's like outcest. I don't know. Like it's something.
Oh, it's in. It's in.
No, it's in, baby. Mm.
But yeah, episode 3, we get Sylvie and Loki together, and they're on the run from the TVA at this point, and they wind up on an apocalypse on this like moon planet,
Some
like
moon.
some
Yeah,
kind of
some moon
mining.
colony.
A moon crashes down into a
Yeah.
planet.
Yeah, right. And
So pretty. The visuals in that were so pretty. I wish I could have seen that in IMAX. I'm not gonna lie.
Mm.
Like that.
yeah, that would have been
great.
cool. Yeah, but
it was a fun backdrop.
this episode is
It was so pretty.
the two of them learning about each other. It's just them. It's like a romantic comedy movie almost, or like a Woody Allen movie or something.
Yeah, Loki getting drunk on the train.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was a lot of fun watching them interact with each other and having fun and kind of letting loose and thinking they got it, thinking they know what to do.
Yep.
Working together.
Still very Loki at the core, but like they're still fighting the idea. It's like, you're not me. It's like, you know nothing about me. Or it's like, I'm the superior Loki. The the back and forth between, the
Right.
arrogance, the ego, the classic Loki trope. It's like, how different is
World
a
domination.
Loki? Yeah. How different is one Loki from any other Loki? The narcissism of loving yourself so much that you can fall in love with a different version of yourself.
Did you guys buy it? By the end of the episode, they kind of have like a touching moment. They think they're gonna die on this planet, and they kind of their Nexus event that lets the TVA
Mhm.
find them and save them is
Mhm.
them kind of falling in love almost.
Yeah,
Are you saying love is the fifth element?
it
Is that
is.
what you're saying? Huh.
Yeah.
I mean, it was rushed, obviously, because like it's one episode really of building this relationship. They were gonna kill each other just an episode previous. I
Yeah.
can definitely buy it in the sense that like they're both just beautiful gods,
Yeah.
like, and Tomas made the point of saying like, what's one of Loki's traits? He's a narcissist. Like,
Yeah.
that's a defining trait of Loki. So if anyone's gonna fall in love with a variant of themselves, you're right. It's gonna be Eric. You're right. No, it's gonna be Loki.
I just imagine a guy looking in a mirror, like flexing at himself. It's like, yeah. It's like, I'd fuck me. That fucks me hard, bro.
I mean,
everything
he's
going
easy
through
on
my
the eyes. I mean, she at least
Spoilers for
looks
season
different than he
2
does.
of yeah. No, I mean they're two just beautiful and, and going through I mean Mike said it like they think they're going to die. Like there's
Yeah.
a giant
Yeah.
meteor or moon or whatever that's just going to smash and there's like they've already had their like third and fourth chance in this episode of like
Yeah.
getting off. They've gone through so many different things to like, oh yeah, now we're gonna take a train. Oh yeah, now we're gonna infiltrate and we're gonna
We're gonna find the Ark. Yeah.
yeah, we're gonna do all these different things. It's like everything. Oh fuck, the arc exploded.
Yeah.
There's
Can we talk
there's
about
no
how like
chance.
the Ark was literally just built and constructed in the middle of like a downtown metropolitan area? I don't think that's how it would work. Like, secret government site somewhere that like
When they get to Lamentus, someone's I think it's Sylvie like, we're on Lamentus. It's an apocalypse that took out blah blah blah, and there were no survivors. But
Killed
yet
everyone, right?
they still think there's a way to get off of this planet.
Well, what they
They're
wanted,
gonna
they needed to
change it.
use the arc to charge their tempad. They weren't trying to take
Oh,
the
that's right.
ship.
You're right.
They
No,
just
no,
needed
but
that much
Absolutely right.
power.
But then Loki landed on the tempad, and they're like, "Well, history
Oh
says
yeah, yeah,
that
you're right. You're
the
right.
ship
You're
never
right.
takes off, but we were never on that ship."
They
So
were gonna
Yeah.
make
therefore,
it happen.
Yeah,
they're
it's like
like,
we're gonna be better.
Yeah.
We're gonna be better than than time,
Yeah.
like,
Right.
than fate.
yes.
Uh,
Find out
that
more
was
about that a little bit later too. So
yeah, it was great. Yeah, that was kind of a standout episode. I'm surprised. I'm looking at IMDb right now and they got a little star rating. And that's actually might be the least. Let me look. Yeah. So I mean for whatever, like it's just people rating episodes or whatever on IMDb, but people gave that episode a 7.9. It's the only one under a 9.0.
oh wow.
Yeah.
I'd say that's the weakest episode
It's just
3.
it's slow. The pacing is
Yeah.
completely different than any other. I get why it's there.
Yeah.
They need to develop, amongst each other, understand,
Oh, I liked that
like,
episode.
I know it's
I
a
like
good
all the
episode,
episodes.
but like
Yeah.
in comparison to the other ones, like it's just slower. It's like they're on this marooned planet. But I think it's an absolutely necessary episode. You get to learn like what makes these Lokis tick. Are they going to be able to work together? It's like, and then they touch on it, way on in the end. Like she has trust issues, and Tom Hiddleston Loki has issues with keeping other people's trust. They're like polar
Yeah.
opposites in that like regard. So it's like it was fun to
Yeah.
see their characters interact, like that, and it's just funny watching two Lokis who think they know everything and have all the answers, butt heads with each other. And like the train scene was really fun. It was fun watching Hiddleston like be like his Loki so well in regards to working a crowd and well like
Yeah,
like
he sings some kind of like Asgardian or Norse,
Asgardian.
like
Yeah.
like
That was
Yeah.
fun. Like I enjoyed those parts and like and I think it was really I think they did a lot of scenes really well and that like when the arc gets blown up and then you just got like that like Hiddleston standing there and like everybody's like, in the background, even though there's a whole entire crowd of other people, behind him, like he just stands out like looking up as like oh shit, like we're fucked.
Yeah.
It's like I felt like that was a very well shot scene, and and then they have their moment at the end as the planet's about to blow up. And do I believe it? I mean, that was like half and half. I was more like, and I was like, my mind was going. It's like, are they really pushing for this narrative? Like Loki being with Loki. I was like, it's like in my head, I was like, are they really gonna do that? It's like because I was like. And like instantly, I bring up the debate to my girlfriend. I'm like, it's like, is it masturbation? It's like, you fuck yourself. but it's like it's funny. And then they move on to like the next episode, and even the only reason I brought up the narcissist thing is because Mobius himself brings it up when he's interrogating Loki after they save them from the apocalypse, and they're interrogating him. And this is like when shit starts like really flying off.
Big metaphor guy, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, and, like this is the episode where like everything starts to unravel. Like you start under like all the questions you may have had or like shit questions I didn't even know I had. Like they start revealing like shit, you know, because what's a like Sylvie, she like early on at a Renaissance fair. Is that the same Renn Faire that we go to?
honestly. So yeah, like when they showed that Renn Faire, I was like, that's gotta be the and it's even it's like
It's
in
in Wisconsin.
Wisconsin.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a different town, but I feel like someone went to the Renn Faire that
They
we
just
go
changed
to.
the name.
Yeah. Shout
Yeah.
out to the Bristol Renn Faire. Any
What
of you Renn Faire heads out there, shout out. I think this is the Bristol Renaissance Fair in Loki. I think it is.
It's in my head canon. It's that one, but
It wasn't 100 degrees during
Dude.
that fair, so there is no way that it was like overcast and cloudy and raining at that fucking Ren Fair. So
there
that
was
the Bristol Renaissance Fair takes place on the sun. So
But I did think I saw a variant of Mike just like vomiting somewhere. Like, so.
Yeah.
I did no.
It was back in '85. The weed wasn't strong enough for that. So.
Oh, welcome to the Rencast,
Episode
folks.
4, here we go.
Nobody gets what we're talking about.
Oh, episode 4,
Anyways.
the Nexus event, which is love, the love between two Loki variants.
Absolutely. But yeah, a lot of big stuff happens. Like you learn, like I think the opening scene is and that one is where Sylvie is like how she took that agent like the first time they tried to capture her at the Renn Faire, and how she used her enchantment on her, and like there's a scene where she's sitting down at like a tiki bar with this agent, and they're talking over drinks, and it's like in the process of like her trying to enchant her, she has to dive deeper into their memories for strong-minded people. And it's like you don't quite get it, until like at the end, it's like it cuts back to her like when they found her at the I guess the Apocalypse Walmart, and she's saying it's like I saw everything, It's like it's like, and she's like having this breakdown. Um, fast forward a little bit, and you find out that like everybody who works at the TVA is a variant that was like put there at some point to like
Yeah. Captured,
make this shit work,
memories
Yeah.
wiped,
Yep, and it's
free will gone.
it's a hard sell for like anybody else that like because Sylvie tells Loki this before they get like recaptured, uh, and it's like old boy's trying to tell Mobius this, and like he plants the seed then. Because it's like a lot of their back and forth is like, is this just another parlor trick, Loki? Is this you playing your game, a last gambit, trying to sneak out? Because it's what Loki does. He's a survivor. He weasels. He's a slink. It's very much his character.
Manipulates.
Yes, and
The flea on the back of a dragon.
yes. Oh, well, you're jumping too far ahead, bro.
Great
This
line
is
though.
This is a big episode. Shit really pops off.
Yeah, this is where the curtain is pulled
Yeah.
back on the TVA and the timekeepers. The what is
Time
Loki
wizards.
refer to them as? The ancient space lizards or something?
Ancient space lizards. I love that.
Yeah, and did you guys kind of know, like, okay, these three like celestial beings aren't real? Did you guys know that there must be some Wizard of Oz thing going on? Because Loki
No.
doesn't believe it the whole time either, and I think you're supposed to, as the audience, be with him on that and be like, what? No, there's no way that this is how this works.
Just looking at them, my girlfriend was like, "These guys look like some Chuck E. Cheese animatronic dudes."
Yeah,
like when they
yeah.
first show them.
Yeah,
And
you get
sure
the
enough,
country bears once you
yeah,
open up their fucking chamber or whatever.
yeah, their chamber of smoke and mirrors.
Yeah.
Who's doing maintenance on these?
Loki plants the seed to Mobius, telling him like you're a variant, you were taken. And of course he like is interested in that. He's curious. He starts asking questions about the agent who did get captured, because that agent who got captured has been like disappeared. She died is what the
Declassified.
story is.
Knew too much.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they-
exactly.
They feed him the story that like, oh, like shortly after you brought her back in, she took a turn for the worst, as per the enchantment or whatever. They sell him some bullshit. Well, yeah, you're saying he goes to his colleague, or I guess head honcho,
Judge Renslayer.
Renn Faire. Oh, I'm glad you remembered. I just called her like the bitch, or like
Boss
Okay.
lady.
or dis bitch, or my girlfriend was like, we've been watching Game of Thrones a lot lately, so like my girlfriend's like coming up with like cute nicknames for everybody that she hates. So it's like we kind of rolled that over into this character.
Would you call dis bitch a cute nickname?
Well, hers are a little bit less flowery than mine.
Oh.
That's a stinky flower, man.
Everybody loves a character that you can hate together, though. So, and boy, did I hate her character.
But Judge Renslayer, throughout so far in all these episodes, you've seen that her and Mobius kind of have a good relationship. They've been together for a long time. They have trust. They have bonding. He's her favorite. But he starts to have suspicions, and he like finds this way to steal her tempad and find a video of the agent who got kidnapped. Clearly, not sick, but rambling, if you will, about like, no, I know I had a life before. She showed me. I was there. Like, what did you do to me? I like, what is going on? And then she's terminated.
I was just gonna say, here's one of the points in the story where I was a little confused as to the why. Like, do we ever really get, maybe I missed something or whatever, the why of, like, why are we taking variants, brainwashing them, or whatever we're doing, and that's like who we're using as the TVA agents and the Minutemen and all that.
Someone has a grand plot and needs these people to
fulfill it.
fulfill, you know, this whole TVA thing to keep order, basically.
Okay, so it's just like, but did they need to go throughout time and like take variants and brainwash them as opposed to just like hiring an evil army, like whatever, like how normal bad guys do it?
Well, we learn later on that like it's all part of like the grand scheme of keeping this singular timeline, and if you're already rounding up variants in order to do that, keep that order of a singular timeline, what better to use than brainwashed people that no longer technically exist?
Yeah, we find out later that, if you were to hire people like you said and they have free will, uh things, you get someone who gets a thorn up their ass and wants to overthrow and to change things and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
the TVA is kept just clean as possible. Like,
I think it just comes down to
Prune
the
'em.
fact that like, yeah, it's
Right.
the variants were capturing these guys anyways. At some point, it's just like, well, they're already coming off of the timeline. Nobody's gonna miss them. We're eradicating that timeline. So it's like, it's just comes down to the point where it's like, okay, well, who better than to use than a handful of these people and just brainwash them and make this shit work.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think that explains it. You guys are better than Kevin Feige. I got you.
Got it. Where's my check?
Sorry, I think I actually interrupted you, Kayla, like 20 minutes ago. You were talking about the episode and everything that was going on.
Space lizards.
Yeah, space lizards.
He steals that one when he steals the TUM pad, and then like she obviously figures it out. But now Mobius knows Loki was right. I am a variant. I did have a life, and she's been lying to me. Everybody's been lying to me. What the hell is going on? But of course, Judge Slayer comes in and instantly like he gets like a sentence out, and she's like, prune him. Like, no bonding, no friendship, no nothing. Just takes him out just like that. That's rough.
Yeah. The tragic moment is like if you can choose any time in life, or
Oh, that was a good line.
during-
You're right. I forgot
during,
about that.
during it all, it's like the
Yeah.
grand scheme of things. What would you choose?
Yeah,
And
that's a callback to an earlier episode. They had that discussion.
be somewhere on a jet.
And Mobius at that time, he's like, I'd just be here. I love what we do. It means something.
Yeah.
But then he said, "I'd be on a jet ski, baby."
Yeah, and I know you guys didn't really like Renslayer, right?
I didn't.
I thought she was a good villain. Like, I think because I didn't think she was gonna be like kind of one
I
of
don't
the
think
ultimate
she's a
villains.
villain, though.
I didn't. I still didn't feel sympathy for her once everything started unraveling, and like she still felt like there must be a purpose to everything. It was like we got to be doing this for a reason, and I understand her conviction, but
World is collapsing. Yeah, like in that moment, like because the TVA, everyone thinks this is for the better good, for all time, always. They are keeping this timeline sacred. If they don't do their job, shit goes to hell, and it's their fault. And like, so when she finds out, like, well, fuck, what? None of this is real. Holy shit! I gotta hold on to this thing. I have to keep. She's panicking at that point. I thought it was really nice.
yeah, no, I understand it's very human of her character, but it's like at least listen to reason. She was just like instead of like Mobius, it's like okay, yeah, it's like let me listen to you, or like no, fucking prune them, bye. It's like I'm gonna cut all these guys out because they go against everything that I was taught to believe. Instead of like hearing them out and like maybe like coming to some kind of resolution, she was just like cut, and I'll figure it out afterwards. That's what I didn't like about her character.
Well, she's not the only one that didn't want to listen.
No,
to
I get it, but she is the one who pruned Owen Wilson, so
Yeah.
so like wow.
Yeah, shortly after that, we are, Sylvie and Loki. They want to go see the Timekeepers. They want to go have an audience with them.
The time.
And it's when we find out, oh, these are just like weird robots in a foggy room.
Yep.
And there's like a fight scene, and Loki gets pruned, like he gets fucking zapped by Renn Faire. And what did you guys think in that moment? Like, oh shit, fuck, they did it. Like they got rid of, the title character, and now there's like, okay, will the show be called Sylvie?
Now there's Sylvie.
That would have been a cool title drop the next episode.
Right.
That was a perfectly missed opportunity.
I think like the first thing that I thought was like, I definitely thought he was gone. I thought like, oh wow, yeah, because up until that point, anytime we see someone getting pruned, that's it. They're gone. Like they're
Right.
dead. Like
Pruned.
they're worse than dead. Like they're disintegrated. So I thought like, wow, yeah, that's a big deal. But we've already kind of been introduced to like variants, different timelines, all this stuff. So I kind of thought like, oh, Sylvie will go and like maybe go and get our Loki. This is how we bring in the Loki that we know and love, the one that dies to Thanos and stuff. That was the first thing that I thought.
Your mind,
but we get to
mine.
Yeah. I mean, they wrap it up pretty quick, so I didn't have long to the threads of that. But
yeah.
But that's what came.
Yeah, that was the post credits episode.
Yeah, we get our first post credit scene where Loki wakes up to a gang of Loki variants in this weird like.
There was old Loki, boastful Loki, kid Loki, and alligator Loki.
Yeah.
Little standout episode, right? Like episode 5 was just a lot of fun.
That was.
Oh yeah.
Super duper.
Yeah, we find out that when you are pruned, it doesn't just vaporize you; it just kind of teleports you to this weird void dimension. And
right on the edge,
monster that devours space and time in this place. And good luck.
Yeah,
Eliath, right?
Eliath.
It's where they just dump off all the shit, like, all the variants, all the converging time streams, anything that goes off path. They just drop it there, and old Annihilation fucking smoke cloud beast just
Loki landfill.
The Loki landfill.
All the Easter eggs in the void were a lot of fun. The first thing I saw was the Avengers Tower. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Wasn't there an Ant-Man trapped underneath the ground or something?
That was
Frog Thor. Which was Chris Hemsworth voice.
Okay.
No, wow.
But
down fast. I didn't really see it, but I saw the hammer.
Yeah.
Yeah, we get the Thanos copter from the
comics. There's a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Was that the opening one where they had all the voices, the voiceovers and stuff, or was that the last?
That's the last.
Okay. Yeah. But yeah, that creeped the shit out of my girlfriend when that started happening.
Yeah, but Loki becomes friends with, or joins with, classic Loki and them, and he finds out what's happening, and like, whenever, what did you do? What was your Nexus event? Oh, I did this, and what was yours? Well, I killed Thor.
Yeah.
And it just seems like, they're the classic Loki has this, the kid Loki later, like, whenever we decide to change or become something different, we get sent to this fucking, it's what do we do,
when they sway from being classic Loki, I guess, or when they step out of their confines of just being a conniving asshole.
And in the meantime, while Loki's in the void learning about the void and other Lokis and blah, 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 we see Sylvie still in the TVA with Judge Renn Faire. And they like kind of it appears that they're gonna like work together. They find out that the timekeepers aren't real, and Sylvie's like, don't you want to know what's happening? And they're like, yeah, okay, let's do it. But she was just setting her up. I really liked that scene. I didn't know, like, I was like, dang, what is Sylvie gonna do? They're all here. She can't run away. She can't use any of her powers. And then she prunes herself, which I thought was really nice. Didn't see that coming. Was a great idea. Obviously, that's what you need to do. But then she wants to find Loki. She wants to continue her thing.
She has no idea what's going to happen, like when she prunes herself, but she just thinks that's the way. She thinks Loki's still out there, and
it's a bold move, Cotton.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
it really is.
it was. But
So we
obviously, it
get-
just brings her to the void.
Yeah, and episode 5 wraps up so just awesome. I mean, like, so we get all these. Sylvie winds up there. We find Mobius. We kind of get the whole gang, all the variant Lokis
Can we talk
together.
about President Loki?
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
that was a little bit of a weird. That was weird. So yeah, we do get the scene where President Loki comes in, and with his band of like,
Royal Rumble.
yeah, and it sets up a fight scene between all these variants and these weird like, I don't know, like Fury Road people.
Pretty much.
Well, they're all
But-
Lokis, right?
Are
Yeah,
they?
every single
Yeah,
one
I mean,
was Loki.
Oh.
They're all
There's like
Loki
a guy with
variants.
like he's wearing like a football helmet with antlers on it, trying to like create his own like fucking Loki's crown and shit. Or-
Like Mikey, you nailed it. Like Loki landfill is like
Yeah.
the best way to describe this place, because you
Yeah.
had every kind. You had your like mighty ones, and you had your like fucking dollar store variants. Like
Yeah, they're the only they're survivors. They're the only ones
Yeah.
that really can find a way to survive Alioth in this place.
yeah,
And President Loki is apparently like he's tried to lead all of the other Lokis. And
old Loki's like, we've heard it all, we've tried it all. It's like, like get over it.
right.
And they can never get past Goliath until Sylvie, kind of shows up and has the plan to get past Goliath. She's going to use her powers of persuasion and enchant the Goliath, the big dog monster or whatever it is exactly. Big doggy smoke monster.
Small point I wanted to also, I don't think we touched on it. Like, there was that other TVA worker. I forget if she was 15 or 20. I forget what the
B-15,
number
Hunter
was. Yeah.
B-15, yeah.
Yeah, like, and it was a cool like little, I think, way to introduce like her character as an important one. It's like, because she knows like the cat's out of the bag, and like I completely forgot that like she had gotten enchanted at like the supermarket. And I was like, oh shit. I was like, like, and then they have like the scene at the apocalypse, and like she's asking Sylvie because she's the one who was interrogating Sylvie, and like they have that whole wrap up there. Like she's like, I know. It's like, did I have a life? And then they have the little deep dive into her head. She's like, I looked happy, and she wanted that, and so like they kind of got her on board. So like, it's like I just felt like that was an important moment. I didn't want to skip over it, but like it's like
That
Yeah.
actress was great. She does a lot with a little.
with a little,
And,
yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
her name is Wanmi Mosaka, I believe is her name, and
Yeah.
she was fantastic.
Yeah,
I did want to. I was going to bring it up a little later near the end because
Endgame.
there's kind of another character that kind of is part of this, but Wunmi Masaka, Hunter B-15, she played a major character in Lovecraft Country, which unfortunately isn't getting a second season on HBO Max. But
Couple actors from that.
yes,
She has a really fun role in that. She's very expressive.
she's amazing in that show, and as is someone else we're gonna meet. So it's a reunion of sorts.
Oh wow, that's cool.
Yes.
Yes.
But yeah, moving
Episode
forward.
6. Yeah, I think so. Episode 6, we get past Alioth, where the Loki variants at the end of episode 5 are able to enchant Eliath and get past the smoke to see the citadel, right? Is that the big
Yeah.
castle? Is that the
Yeah.
name?
It's the end of time.
We lose classic Loki during this. He sacrifices himself.
He went out like a champ.
He did. He did. It was
What
it
a
was
great
really cool.
moment.
Yeah, old
Yeah.
Loki, man, that was oof. My boy went out like a
Glorious
champ.
purpose.
Yeah. Richard E. Grant.
I had
Yeah.
For
goosebumps,
everyone.
man.
Yeah.
That scene got me pumped. Like my girlfriend was like, she was fading off. Like we were watching this shit at like 12:30. I'm like, babe, you gotta wake up. Like, old Loki's doing stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, we also
Again,
get a
very
touching
beautiful.
farewell from Mobius and Loki before that. That was
Yeah.
really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, they bro hugged it out like real nice.
Yeah.
That was good. It was good. Like 5 and 6. Oof.
Yeah, and we've been teasing it. So episode 6 introduced us to I don't know if it's right to call him the big bad, but they get to go to the end of time, to the Citadel, and we get to see who's been pulling the strings of the TVA, and that is
He who remains.
He who
Yes,
remains.
played by Jonathan Majors, who was a standout. He was the main character in Lovecraft Country. So that's what I was teasing earlier. A little bit of a
You got
reunion.
there.
Yes. I thought he was so fun, like in
Yeah.
this role. Because if you've seen, the only thing I've ever seen him in aside from this that I can remember is Lovecraft Country, and that's a horror show. That is a
Serious. He's
very
very
serious.
serious the whole time.
He is a stoic, very like angry man in that show.
Marine or an army in the army.
Yes, he's got a dark
So this
past.
was very fun and
Yeah.
different.
You got to let his hair down.
Yes, he did. What did you guys think of He Who Remains?
I not what I was expecting. Like Marvel's got a lot of like big characters. They said He Who Remains. My mind immediately went to is like, are they trying to like pull a one above all thing here? Because that's technically God in Marvel Comics. Like God above God, like because every other concept of God is just like, just based off of like religions. Like you have like they call it like I forget what it was like. There's like a council of like gods, like Buddha, Jesus, as you got Odin, they all like sit at a council, but like there is the one above all who presides above everything. And he's normally I think depicted as like Jack Kirby. Like a few times yeah, and it's mainly just like an allegory for like the writer. The one above all is the hand, the writer, the one who can change the story at a whim.
Master Hand.
And then and that's it's like I thought that's like yeah, I was like, are they really gonna like pull for that, especially like on a 6 episode like series? It's like that's a huge character. One might argue that's the hugest character. That's a character that hasn't even been flushed out in like over 50 years of like comics. It's like probably like a handful of times he's ever been mentioned or even shown in comics. But I guess he's just this dude, like who like dealt with like the multiverse at one point, and like he kind of breaks
He's
it
like a
down.
scientist.
Yeah, he's like a scientist. He breaks it down like he was like a 31st like the year like 3100 or something like that. Like they find out about like they can commune between like the dimensions, and he finds like versions of himself, and at first it works out really good. It's like, yeah, it's like common good, common cause, let's build shit bigger and better, and like let's help everybody. But then it's like infinite amount of dimensions. One of you's got to be an asshole, right? Well, there's a good handful of those, and shit kind of
Power.
goes off yeah, shit, absolute power corrupts absolutely. And not everybody's on board, but he's like the one who like puts an end to it. and he realizes the chaos and destruction that comes along with converging timelines and dimensions and shit like that. And he's like, I can't let this happen again. He ends the war, the multiverse war, and
Yeah.
he's like, I'm gonna rein this shit in. Somebody's got to do something. This can't happen again. This kind of cataclysmic event, you know, and he puts together the means to do so, and he kind of becomes like this god figure at the end of time, which is. And this scene like got me super pumped when you see the Citadel, like they open up and it's at the edge of time. And Chronocast, let's go. Let's start. We're just gonna talk about Chrono Trigger from this point on. But no, it was really hype. I loved it. I loved the backdrop. I loved like the small little reveals, how they show that like little time clock, like
His minutes.
and like, and then you see this character, and like you're expecting like, oh, I didn't even know what I was expecting when they opened the door, and like you have this like really like I wouldn't say flamboyant, but like just
Well, he says, right? What you? This wasn't what you were expecting. Like,
I was like, yeah, absolutely wasn't. And he's like eating an apple, and he's just like, come on, let's go talk in my office, and
Such a
it's like,
wink at the
yeah.
audience.
And then they try to get it absolutely was. And like they try to kill him a few times on the way down. He's like, oh yeah, it's like I know everything that you're gonna do before it happens. And then he just like lays it all out. He's like everything's like blah. And he's like, and I think you two can take over for the position that I'm doing. And it's like, and he lays it out there. Like everything that got them to this point was all a part of his plan. This was all like, he was pulling the strings. He knew it all up to that point, and it was all just to get these two Lokis in front of him to give this proposition. And it's like, okay, that's a lot. Like, this is a very wordy episode. Like for a season finale, like when you just got three people sitting down and just talking. I think they did a pretty good job.
it's really just, we just call him Kang.
Okay.
Well, he's been called the Conqueror, he says. So
Yeah, right. Yeah, Loki and Sylvie just become kind of us, like they're the audience at this
Yeah.
point, just sitting down, and he lays it all out there. And with Thanos, we were introduced to this CGI monster or whatever at the end of Avengers, and
Sitting in a throne.
he was this looming thing forever and ever. But man, with he who remains, they just do such a great job of introducing the next big bad. Like the next thing is going to fuck things up,
Yeah.
And but he does it. It's not about oh my god, this guy can destroy everything.
It's not I'm inevitable or like he's like I like
Yeah.
yeah.
He just says like, hey, I know everything that happens ever. There's more of me. There's infinite amount of me, and they're worse.
Yeah.
Like
He just says like, "See you soon."
Yeah, even his peace out was like
sinister. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like, okay, so yeah, Loki's fight over like what they should do, and Hiddleston's like, it's like maybe we should think about this for a second. Uh, and then they like it seems like they come to terms. Loki makes out with himself, and they have this sweet little moment, and then she pushes him through a time portal. And she finishes the job she came to do. She kills the one who remains. And he pieces out and he's like, see you soon. It's like, because he knows that like just by the nature of like how the multiverse works.
Yeah. He's not there to keep it in check. So
yeah, like
the time branches are just going to unravel and keep getting bigger and bigger until
it's going to lead back to the same shit that got him there in the first place. And we kind of get that, like a little glimpse of that at the end too.
Yeah, there's two really cool visuals that you get. So around the Citadel is this ring that is to represent time and the main timeline and everything else. And you just see that it's real pretty. It's colorful and everything else. And you just see that as soon as Kang, if we're gonna call him that, gets stabbed and dies and everything else, you just see it splintering in a million different directions, yeah, just like the synapses in your brain or something. And then we get Loki, who has been pushed through a time portal, back at the TVA
By Sylvie.
by Sylvie,
Yes.
right? And he finds Mobius and he finds Hunter B-15, and he's gonna tell them like, "Oh man, old dude's coming. Like, we got to figure something out."
We gotta figure it
But
out.
he's not in the timeline that we know, because
They don't
Mobius doesn't
recognize
know
him.
who he is. Yeah,
It's like, who are you? Or
and
like, you a new guy? It's like, have we been introduced yet? Oh.
Yeah, and
Like,
instead of
wow.
seeing sculptures of the timekeepers and that visual, you see a giant Kang obelisk.
Yes.
in the-
I was like,
in-
oh shit. It was like,
such
I'm
a cool
excited.
scene to just end on, like
Yeah.
just that, like, because what the hell? What do you do? What is Loki gonna do at this point? Like, what is anyone gonna do?
I thought it was such a good like ending point for, the season 1. Like, so you had Red, and then you immediately have a startup of like a new, yeah, I wouldn't say antagonist, but like it's just like the problem. A new problem is presented immediately, and it's like, oh shit! It's like, it's like, here we go again, and it's like, and it leaves you so much like, how's it gonna happen? It's like Mobius, he's not in the same like time stream that he was originally, so he doesn't know the characters, so it's like immediately set up like he's swimming upstream. It's like what the hell am I gonna do to like try to make this right? And I don't know, man. It's like, we talked about how multiple times I think we've beaten this horse to death. How like the other two shows didn't really like stick the landing, or just didn't feel like I wanted more at the end of it, or but
They didn't feel necessary.
that too, and like this, like, and to tackle such a heavy like thing that like, and this will like touch the Marvel Cinematic Universe heavily. It's like you're talking a multiverse. They've been working on this for a hot
Very
minute.
connected.
Yeah, and like to just do this with like a a sideshow. But mind you, it's like I feel like this had the bigger star of like any of them too. It's like Loki, Tom Hiddleston. Uh, it's like, why
He's
not?
been doing this for a while.
Yeah, and his character is very important in like the MCU too. Like, and now he's even more important. And like, I'm super excited to see where like that goes. Like this show, like I wanted more. Like, and it wasn't that like I wanted more because they didn't explain something well enough, or like they didn't wrap it up well enough. I needed an extra hour of some kind of content to tell me more. It's like I just
Sure.
want to continue this story. And it's good.
Those are good points.
Kayla, I think you nailed it. Like, this one felt like it, like, we're all looking for like an extended movie cut of like a Marvel thing, or like, it's like, I feel like this nailed it perfect. 6 episodes, like about like 3.5 hours, broken down into bite-sized chunks and told at a relatively good rate. And it's
Mhm.
like if they can keep doing this with anything else that they put out like this, I like I said, third time's a charm.
They figured it out. It seemed like this was the perfect story to have little chapters. Like it worked very well to have like this.
Yep.
Whereas like you've said, the other ones are kind of sporadic. They're really confusing at times. You do need more. It's like, wait, I don't get it. This you figure it out eventually. I think I honestly would have liked it in the theater. Like I said, it's so pretty. I would have loved to see and hear these things in the theater. But it did work as a show. I have I have two kind of really random things that I want to mention really quick. So Wednesday night when the final episode came out, Eric and I were like, yeah, let's watch it. We got out of work. We're going to watch it. Eric turns it on. And we're real confused. It's like different. We're like, oh, this is different. And then it shows the like guest starring Major Thomas or whatever his name is.
Jonathan Major.
Major Tom.
Major Thomas from Reno 90210.
And I'm like, yeah, this sounds like the ending credits. And then it's like, stamp, there will be a season 2 of Loki. And me and Eric are like, what the fuck? Is this all that the episode is? And I don't know what happened. I don't know how we like only saw the ending credits when we started to watch the last episode, but that's how we got spoiled.
Disney really dropped the ball there.
Disney Plus is such a horrible HUD. Like they're
Is
having
that what
all the money
happened?
for having all the money in the world, I have more problems with their streaming service, like playback, and on top of that, their organization is fucking garbage. Like it was just like the categories to find anything on Disney Plus is just a fucking nightmare. But yeah, that's
What was your other thing?
We also have these like we have some stray cats around our house, and they're pretty skittish, and we've seen this one. It's like a calico cat, and we were like, oh, we're gonna name it Loki. It's mischievous. It like comes in weirdly, and we named it Loki. And then all of a sudden, there was another calico cat, and they're pretty similar looking. Like I didn't realize there were two of them until I could see them both in the same time, and so then we named the other one Sylvie. So we got a Loki and Sylvie calico twin cats. Fun.
I'm so jealous. I just
they're just
everywhere near my house.
They don't let us touch them. They don't come to us. So.
So, Loki season 1, what a ride. I think we've used the term stick the landing many times. Let's stick the landing on this podcast and just say that I think we were all blown away, right? I mean, this is a hard recommend. If anyone's been listening for the last hour and a half and has not checked out Loki, check it out, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yes. We're going to give our ratings?
Sure, yeah. I'll start it off and I'll say this is a solid, 9. You know, like if Infinity War is a 10, this is a solid 9. I loved it.
10.
Oh,
It's a
10.
10.
It's a 10.
I think it's one of the best things in the MCU to see just Loki's journey throughout the whole thing. How we have the original villain of the MCU basically fully transform and take the turn to being a hero and changing who he is was really well done in such a short period of time.
Good storytelling, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like wrestling, man. It's like, it's like when Bret Hart, beat up Stone Cold Steve Austin after the tap out match. He didn't tap. No, he passed out. Ken Shamrock called the match. And Bret Hart makes the heel turn, and then Stone Cold wakes up, and everybody starts cheering for him. But he's still very Stone Cold at the core, because then he stunners the ref before he walks out of the ring. It's like, I still don't give a fuck, but you guys can love me anyways. That's Loki.
Big metaphor, guys.
Yeah.
What is your rating, Tomas?
I'm going to give it 5 excited faces out of GamePro magazine. I give it a 9.5. I won't give it the full 10, mainly just because I know there's more to explore. So
It gets an 8.5 from me.
all right, cancel Kayla.
I really liked it, but
Get out of here.
For me, and the reason I do that is just, I don't know, I wasn't like...
What was it missing for you?
I just feel like I wasn't like dying for the next episode. Like I wasn't just like I enjoyed it. I can't really say what it was that didn't have me like super like latched onto it. Like when WandaVision was out, I was like, all right, it's coming out today. We're gonna watch it at 6 a.m. We're gonna get up and watch it right now. Or this was like, oh yeah, Loki came out. Let's watch it. I did really enjoy it when I did, and even now talking about it, I'm like, yeah, you know what? You guys are right. These are really good points. This is great. So it's me.
8.5 and 9.8.
That's still good.
Hell of a score still.
That's better than WandaVision. And I don't know what you gave Winter Soldier, but Winter Falcon. But
You preferred Falcon? Is that the show you like more, Kayla?
I think I preferred WandaVision more.
Oh, okay.
oh wow,
Like Wanda, Loki, Falcon.
Okay.
okay.
I feel like WandaVision was different, and it might not have stuck the landing, but they were kind of experimenting a little bit more. This was kind of like it was this is now the new phase, and they are setting it up very well, but it's kind of they've got that formula. They know what they're doing.
Yeah. Well, it's like, and they all had like their issues. WandaVision was not supposed to come out first, right? It was
Right. Yeah, and you do have that.
and then you had the whole pandemic issue with Winter Falcon, and so it's like I can kind of like give those a little bit more leniency, and they weren't bad shows by any stretch of the imagination. But like I said,
Right, they're still
I think
up
they
there.
had their time to like work out whatever kinks like with those two, and so I just feel like this is overall just a better product by the end of the day.
Yeah.
What a great product. Loki was amazing.
Go out
So-
and watch it.
Go
we
out
didn't
and
we
watch
didn't
it.
get- Did you get your rating, Eric?
Yeah. I said it was a 9 only because Infinity War is my 10, and I love this just a slight bit less. So
Okay.
there you go. So Loki is fantastic. Go check it out if you haven't already. We've got to get out of here. We're wrapping up. So this has been episode 38 of The Machine of Nonsense. We did the Loki spoiler cast. Hope you enjoyed it. If you enjoy listening to this podcast, how about you go over to Monstars? It's a Facebook fan group. Go ahead and leave us a nice comment, send us a GIF, send us a meme, do something. Let us know you love the podcast, and we will feature you on a future episode. We'll talk all about you. Also, if you want to connect with us, you can leave us a voice message at anchor.fm/machine of nonsense. We'd love to hear your voice. Check us out on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. We're on it all. Subscribe, like, rate the podcast. Guys, this was a lot of fun. Episode 38 of The Machine of Nonsense. I'm Eric. I was joined by Kayla, Mike, and Tomas talking Loki. And just like Kang the Conqueror, we'll see you soon. We're saying goodbye.
See you.
Bye.
Let's do it.
Yeah.